A trade war is looming between the U.S. and Canada tonight following President-elect Trump's threat of sweeping tariffs. Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, is now promising retaliation if Trump follows through on the proposed tariffs. Good evening and welcome to 7 News Detroit at 11. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. Thank you so much for joining us. Those threats include restricting electricity imports to Michigan and limiting alcohol imports. 7 News Detroit reporter Brett Cast went across the border, raising the voices of bar owners and patrons in Windsor.
Well, the United States is less than a mile from Windsor, yet if these tariff talks become reality, bars here in Windsor could be banned from selling U.S.-made alcohol.
It's a Thursday night out in Windsor, and like most bars along the border, shelves at Lefty's on the O are stocked with both Canadian and American alcohol.
We're going to have some American ones like Jim Beam, Jack Daniels.
Jim Arbor is the bar's owner, learning today about a potential ban on the sale of American-made alcohol in Ontario.
It doesn't really worry me because a lot of our alcohol products are bottled in Canada or Europe, so I can't see it affecting us a ton.
While many American beer brands sold in Canada are also bottled in Canada, bourbon like Woodford Reserve, Jack Daniels, or Jim Beam only come from the U.S.
It'll be detrimental to our industry, for sure.
Around the corner, the owner of Eastwood's Bar and Grill estimates 30% of the alcohol he sells is American-made.
We'd have to, cross that bridge when we get to it, or I just have to stockpile it and, just before that, just so I'm not running out, right?
The threat from Ontario's Premier Doug Ford comes in response to President-elect Donald Trump's promise of sweeping tariffs on Canada, including a 25% tax on all Canadian imports.
We will go to the full extent, depending on how far this goes.
In addition to banning the sale of U.S.-made alcohol, Ford also threatened to cut off electricity sent to states like Michigan, which he says would make electricity unaffordable for Americans. Ontario is known to power about 1.5 million U.S. homes, but DTE did not have a comment Thursday evening on how this would impact its customers.
I don't want this to happen, but my number one job is to protect Ontario. Ontarians and Canadians as a whole.
A little disappointed that, we might see the banning of my favorite shots to take, but we'll get around it.
Those enjoying their night out also reacting to the potential trade war.
I think about what are the wider implications and what's going to follow suit. And if we start with tariffs, for example, on alcohol, what other industries are going to be affected?
While the threat of tariffs and restrictions are so far just talk, officials in Ontario believe it's real.
We need to be ready. We need to be ready to fight. This fight is coming 100% on January the 20th or January 21st.
In Windsor, Brett Cast, 7 News Detroit.